And Mr. Nat Cole's Music Unforgettable brings on the Viewpoint program, which is certainly unforgettable. All of you listeners out there, 2 or 3 of you anyway, remember it's each Wednesday morning. We have a special program this morning. We always try to start, gentlemen and Cince, with kudos. You all remember. I didn't see much about in the media here, but again, we had Lincoln Football Club, which is known as soccer to those of us who are unenlightened about those things and how they're termed. If you'll call it in Europe, it's not soccer, it's football. Often it's with an F-U-T.
Yeah.
Anyway, we had a huge tournament here this year. Once again, by the way, the genesis of that whole thing and the guy who just kind of kick-started it was Dr. Drew Howder.
A nice man.
And his lovely wife, Marcia, and a couple of great kids that they got in there and got this thing started. They got a lot of help. And that big, huge area behind Walmart is now a football field, as they say. And they had several thousand here over the weekend. And I talked to a couple and 2 of their children who are soccer players in a restaurant. And this is their 3rd time coming over. And they just like to come here to Lincoln. They say we treat them well. And by the way, economically, that's a huge boost for the restaurant people and those who poke up a little gasoline.
Well, and those who sleep over.
Yeah, that's right. I don't think about sleeping. Listen, let's get serious.
I do.
Let's get serious with our guest this morning because we have a serious subject matter, something that goes on, has been going on down in the county for a number of years. And we have some people who are vitally involved in that. So go ahead, Mrs. Busby.
Yes, we have some really nice people here to talk about a nice event that's coming on the 24th.
Yeah, even though one of them's your daughter, she's still very nice.
Cynthia Lynn Busby Barnes. Yeah, I know. This poor Bill Sahs just asked her if I was related to her, and she denied me.
Hope not thrice.
Yeah, well, that finally comes to that, you know. Anyway, Cince Bowns is the president of the board, and the very first president of the Habitat Board for Logan County was Bill Sahs, and he's here with us today. And he has a very nice wife who volunteers at the hospital. That's where I met her. She's a nice lady. You did well picking her.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Yeah. And Leonard Krusemark, bless your heart, you've been very involved with Habitat.
A cornerstone, Leonard
yes.
is. Leonard's a cornerstone.
Yes, and he always buys each family, he himself, not Habitat, buys each family a Bible, a new Bible for their new home and their new life.
And makes a nice presentation.
And Leonard's quite a pillar, aren't you?
I love it. It's fun to talk about this program because it's so rewarding, you know, to help people up, you know, that need a little hand up. I mean,
yes.
And that's one of the things I think that keeps our small towns going is that people watching out for each other and helping out where somebody needs a help.
That's exactly right. And you just made a remark that kind of embodies the Habitat creed in that you said a hand up and not a hand out. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about how you give them a hand up as opposed to a hand out. We don't really appreciate a hand out, but a hand up.
Some will take.
Yeah.
Some will take.
Yeah, but this is truly a hand up, isn't it?
Well, yes. This program it's a partnership with the community and the family. You know, we partner together to build a home for someone that qualifies, and that's so everybody involved has a stake in it, so to speak. You know, and have an opportunity to put in their 2 cents worth, so to speak. which some people have a little more expertise. Some are just helpers, but anyway, it's a lot of people going together to give someone a boost. That needs and everybody that ever got a Habitat home, we visit their home when they make an application, and they all are in inadequate housing. Either the roof leaks or the furnace doesn't work or whatever, and they really need some kind of help. They can't continue to live in that circumstance. So.
I met one of the recipients, and she was so excited, and she was moving from a home that didn't have a furnace. Now, wow. This isn't Minnesota, but by George, we got some pretty chilly days come winter.
Darn cold, not chilly. Seriously.
Bitingly
hard,
so.
It's just hard. We take so many things for granted. It's just hard to fathom, to process in your mind that people live in a house without a furnace.
Yeah.
That's hard to process. Billy Sahs, 25 years ago, you became president of this fledgling organization. Did you have any conception at all in your mind that
never
that it would grow like it has?
We started out, I saw this on a show on PBS on a Sunday in summertime, sometime in '92, and I thought, Habitat was building what they call a blitz house. They had 10 homes in a row in Minneapolis, and they started with the first foundation and went all the way through in a week and built those 10 homes.
No kidding.
That's
Holy
a blitz
Friday.
house, all right.
And I thought, boy, it'd be cool to look into this. So I called the Chicago office, is our regional office, and they sent me some information, and I got a few people together, and we had a informational meeting, and we had 15, 20 people there, and thought, maybe we could make something of this. And here we are today.
Sure enough, you
Look
have.
at that. Did you foresee 25 years of it?
No. Never.
That's what I call, I referred to it off air out in the lobby here a while ago. Used to say, use lobby in this big building. I referred to Norman Rockwell, what I call a slice of Americana. If that isn't a slice of Americana at its best, volunteers getting together, building a home for somebody else in need.
Yes.
That's the essence of it. Leonard, you've been with them you came to them in a vicarious way. You were standing on a street corner and you asked what they were talking about.
Well, Bill Sahs and George Dom were standing there. They said, selling 2x4s. And I said, why would I want to buy a 2x4? And they explained it to me, and they said, for $5, you can put your name on this 2x4, and then it becomes part of the house that we're building, And by the way, you can help put the 2x4 in place as well. And anyway, the next thing it looked like fun to work together for something like that. And anyway, and you met the people that were going to receive the house. And anyway, it's contagious. I mean, it was a great thing to be able to help somebody that really needed it. And they put their 2 cents worth in as well, and yes. What a delightful experience it turned out to be.
You mentioned putting in her 2 cents worth in, and I think Cynthia Lynn, would you? That's a formal name, by the way. This very formal station. Would you explain to us, please? Explain to the waiting public out there. And by the way, folks, if you have any questions about this, is a wonderful project. And if you'd like to have any comments or any questions, 648-5510. Cince, how does a family find out about? Or how do they qualify? How does it take us through the process?
Well, there's income guidelines, and obviously a need guideline. Mm-hmm. I really don't like the place I'm living right now, doesn't qualify. Like they were talking earlier, my roof leaks, my septic tank backs up. Whatever the issue, I don't have a furnace. And they fill out an application. We make sure they meet the income guidelines. And unfortunately, a lot of other caveats with Habitat International. And then we do a home visit like Leonard was talking about. And we get background checks. We get credit checks because Habitat for Humanity of Logan County holds the mortgage. So we need to make sure you're going to be able to pay that, because if you don't pay your mortgage, we can't build the next house.
Right.
Don't you think that would encourage people to be current with their mortgage, knowing that others are depending on them, or not?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it's one of the big things is partnering with Habitat, and we want volunteerism to become a part of their life. I don't want you to just work on building your house and putting in what we call sweat equity. If you're a single person, you have to put in 250 hours of sweat equity. And if you're a couple, it's 350 hours. If you don't have that time in by the time your home is completed, you don't get the keys.
That's pretty basic.
It is real basic, and we work very closely through the vetting process, through picking out the lot, to picking out the flooring, the shingles, and what color siding you want. It's a long process.
But the person who's going to be receiving the house, as you indicated, and I want to emphasize this, it's just not a handout. They have to put some of their own sweat in there.
That you have to put, again, you have to put in the sweat equity. There's a $500 down payment.
Well, plus, with their working on the building, they learn. Now, Cince can hang sheetrock, tape sheetrock, mud sheetrock. I can...
I've heard that.
do not much. You know? But people learn that they can replace their doorknob, they can do things to keep up their new home. So they learn those things on the job training.
Absolutely. We're doing House 23 right now, but on House 22, I spent an entire day with the homeowner, and we put on all the doorknobs on all of the doors.
And I bet she can do it herself
now. And she can do it herself now.
Yeah, I helped at a house up here in Atlanta, and you assigned me on a terrible hot day putting an insulation between the studs. I didn't think I liked that very well.
Oh, I've done that. And that fiberglass insulation
that's
when you're
itchy
sweating.
job, isn't it?
Oh, that's nasty.
I hate that job.
I want to stop in one day to take a shower.
One thing that I'd like to point out is Habitat receives no state or federal funds. None.
This is all locally engendered stuff.
It is, and our Habitat is strictly for Logan County, Lincoln, and all the surrounding communities. And so we do fundraising. We talked about we sell studs. We still sell studs.
Do you really?
You can write your name for $5. You can get a stud. You can write your name. You can write a saying. You can write whatever you'd like on it, and it becomes part of a build, and then we take pictures of those and give them to the homeowner for their album through the building process, so they can remember that. We are raffling off a half a hog this Sunday at our 25th anniversary.
Which half, the front or the back?
Is at 2 o'clock at the Habitat Center and the Habitat Warehouse.
It's the right half, Bill.
Right. Okay.
The warehouse is another money maker. People donate items to us: doors, windows,
But I'm not sure people know what that warehouse is. I think they think you save sinks there for the next house you'll build.
And it's not. You know, please come in.
Emphasize that a little bit.
And you know, we make money on that. We do recycling the second Saturday of every month from 9 to noon. That's another money maker. October 7th, we'll be at IGA making pork chop and ribeye sandwiches.
The day after your birthday.
The day after my birthday. That's also the weekend of my high school reunion.
I noticed you left the number out.
I did leave the number out.
15 years.
15 years,
Yeah.
Or an
somewhere in
anniversary thereof.
Or 40.
What do you try, 73?
So we are continually having to do money making to continue to build houses because building products have gone up astronomically.
Remarkably so. Yeah.
None of us on the board are getting any younger.
That's
So hanging sheetrock
You noticed that?
and shingling. You know, if we have to hire somebody to do that, that costs us a lot of money. We try not to do that. Because anything we can save on the house that we can do ourselves.
It's important for the people who know, economics. You got to have the money to do it. We mentioned the warehouse out there. So if people have good, not junk furniture or appliances, they could in fact find a home for them there, and you could then sell them, and that helps create your income substantially.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do that quite a bit. We added on to our warehouse about 3 years ago, and it filled up pretty quick.
Yeah.
And
Good.
now we get stuff. People know that that's what we do, and they know that we're a place to get rid of quality used stuff.
And people can buy stuff at a real decent price and
Yes.
good stuff, not
Yes.
junk.
Right.
Yeah.
there are other things that people who can't put on a new roof can do, and some of them are to cook the noon meal, because those people are working hard to build that house and they have to be fed. And also they have a break in the morning where they get to have tea and crumpets, and you can serve that. You can.
There was one of the gals was watching me drive screws one time, putting up drywall, and she says, "You know, I bet I could do that." I said, "I bet you could." And so we marked the lines for her, and she practically drove every screw in the rest of the building, you know.
Well, good for her.
Bless her heart.
Well, interestingly enough, about 10 years later, I ran into her and I said, "What are you doing now?" And she says, "Oh, I got my own construction company. I build buildings all over the country."
Oh my word! Isn't that the
I
berries?
mean,
You kicked off a career.
but the very fact that they get the feeling, yes, I can do that, you know. If somebody just gives me a chance to learn, you know,
And she was just ready to step up to the plate, wasn't
yes.
she?
Now,
Yeah.
I noted in looking at this excellent brochure that you have printed here that in many, many cases you had land donated for these homes, which is a very neat thing.
Have we ever bought a lot?
Yes, we have bought about 3, maybe 4 lots.
Is out of those 25
Out of the
years. It's
20,
remarkable.
we actually right now we own about 4 or 5 empty lots that we got to build homes on. So we have some places in Lincoln. We have one in Atlanta. I don't think we have any more in just that one we're building on right now, right?
No, not
Yeah.
for sure.
And
no.
we build a house in Elkhart. So, I mean, we've been in 2 or 3 in Mount Pulaski. So we've been throughout the county. So
Good. Well, you are the of Logan County.
That's
It's not
correct.
the Lincoln.
That is correct.
Yeah. And there have been individuals, and there have also been entities that have donated land for building.
Yes.
And that's important.
Yes.
You know what, Judith K?
Yes.
We can't exist up here with donated time. We have to buy our time, and our sponsors, therefore, are kind enough to put us on the air. And we're going to take a couple of minutes now and recognize our sponsors. Thank you very much. All right, we're back live in the studio. The program is Viewpoint, of course. Here we are in WLCN 96.3. Our guests this morning on Viewpoint are Cynthia Lynn Bowns, President of Habitat for Humanity, Bill Sahs, almost the founder of he's the founder of the Habitat for Humanity in Logan County, and a guy who was right in with putting mortar on the cornerstone, Leonard Krusemark, our old friend from Emden. We're very happy to have you folks with us this morning. Takes a lot of money, takes a lot of volunteers. Currently, we are in Leonard's hometown. We're in Emden building a house on the south side of the community there. How many volunteers on a given day will show up?
2 to a dozen. It depends. You never know ahead of time.
Yeah, they just show.
Yes.
But you got to have somebody to ramrod that thing,
Yes, well, we always have a project manager. In Emden now it's Larry Zumwalt. And anyway, in Logan County it's been Spud.
Newhouse.
Newhouse, right.
And
Tom Frost.
Tom Frost helps a lot, yep.
But somebody has to direct everybody. I mean, most of the people are not overly equipped to do everything, so you need a manager to point them in the right direction, and pick out jobs that are in keeping with their abilities.
And some of us get long in the tooth and can't do anything at all except wave our arms and paint or point and say, you do this, and hope that it works all right.
Well, on the contrary, there are all kinds of things people do that don't involve roofing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Moral
Well, except
sport.
for you have to be a roofer.
Yes, I do, in fact.
Yeah.
In fact.
I don't think we want you up there, Bill.
Yeah, no. My kids have taken away my tools, my step ladder. I'm grounded permanently.
One of the things volunteers do for you is to be a family's mentor. Now that's interesting. Maybe one of you could explain a little bit about how you mentor a family.
Well, we take the family and we have one person that has to take them through the process of building a house, the hours they have to contribute for it, the down payment, all the paperwork that's involved, everything that has to do with getting the house built and them moved into it. And that's basically, and then after the house is built and they're moved in, they still check on them after that and just make sure everything's going okay, and it works out quite well.
You have to have financial counseling for some of these folks, maybe all of them.
We try to do that, yes, and we try to get the lawyers to get them to make wills up and do that kind of thing. That now you got a piece of property that you didn't have before,
Right.
And you have to have some kind of means of who gets what when.
It must be so exciting and so rewarding when you see someone take the keys to a new home that they've never had before. I can cry at a good commercial, And
I'm going to write one and see what she does.
And I just think it would make me just so emotional to see people be able to receive the keys
It's
to
very
their
exciting to see that happen. It really is.
Well, and I recommend, there's always an article in the Lincoln papers, online and holding kind. And we have what's called groundbreakings.
Yes.
Where the family and the board and the community, turn a shovel full of dirt. And then after the house is finished, we have a house blessing. That's when Leonard presents his Bible. That we have, we try to get people from city council,
And they're
county
pretty good
board,
about coming.
community, they're very good about coming. And the community, all the new neighbors, to help bless this house and to hand the keys over for the first time to this brand new homeowner. It's very moving.
Well, it is. I've been privileged because my neighbor and her daughter keep me apprised as to what the schedules are. And I've been at several groundbreakings, and I've been at some events where they bring the new house keys to the new owners. And it's a remarkable experience. It's an emotional experience because it's a big deal for some people.
Well, and I don't think a lot of people know what the homeowner's been through. Not only the entire application and vetting process, but then all the sweat equity, all the paperwork that was involved with it. And this is the end as well as the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yes,
interesting
both.
that this program is nationwide.
It's
and
worldwide.
It's interesting. Worldwide. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Right.
Think of the impact that has worldwide on an infinite number of people. And of course, me being an old kind of worry about the children, it's the children that get affected that get to me more than anything else. It's more so than the mothers
It's
and the
fun in the
fathers.
building process because we encourage even young kids. I mean, they can be gophers and they can pick up pieces of wood and put them in the dumpster, you know. Picking out your bedroom paint color.
Yes.
It's my room. And it's just so neat to watch the kids take ownership. This is my house.
Isn't that something? It just must be so moving for you.
It is. It is. It's
Now, on a more less serious side, Leonard, have you seen anything that you found amusing as these projects go along? Somebody stumble over a tube of Ford, hit themselves.
Yeah, there's always it is a very uplifting to work on these projects because there's always some joker or some funny thing that happens. I was thinking about the time these two young girls came. They wanted to help out. They had never done any kind of work on anywhere of any kind, and they were going to paint. And so Spud outlined the room for them, and they started painting, and it was hilarious to watch them learn how to paint, you know. But they got the job done. I painted 3 rooms while they painted 1, but but they got the job, and they were so happy to have participated and got to help out, you know. And I thought that was the finest thing that could have happened to them, because now they've figured out that they can be useful people too.
Yeah. Sure.
They can jump right in and do things that they really had never done before.
You know, my dad always told me I was a 3-quart painter. A quart to spill, a quart to wear, and a quart for the job. And it sounds like they must have been in my club.
Yeah.
You remember Grandpa Ken saying that?
oh yeah.
It was
he had a lot
hilarious.
of things to say that were funny. Billy, since the conception of this idea, you saw it and it began to grow on you, and you said we could do that here in Logan County.
Yeah, it was.
Now that's pretty altruistic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, well, you know, you're sitting there and it's you're not. I farm, so we're not busy all year.
Yeah.
There are a few breaks now and then.
Yeah, most of them until you go to Burton View or Broadwell.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, so I thought, you know, this would be a neat thing. I wonder if we can do that here. And getting the people together was not that difficult. I went to the Methodist Church the next Sunday, and Chuck Wilson, I don't know if you knew Chuck or not, but he passed here, it's been several years ago now.
Some time ago now.
But Chuck says, you know, I think we could do that. So we got 8 or 10 people from our church, and then all of a sudden there was 10 people from somewhere else, and all of a sudden we had a group, and we got the regional director to come and tell us what the process was, and we got that all taken care of and the paperwork signed, and we had our first board meeting in January of '93. We were actually affiliated in November of '92, which makes that our 25th anniversary, but we didn't have a real board meeting until January of the next year.
And Mr. Wilson was the vice chairman when
That's
you were
correct.
chairman.
He was. That's correct.
Now, you had a lot of people on that first board.
Oh, yeah.
That we'd all remember. Loretta Wade.
Yes.
Terry Locke. Ken Benham. Melody Letterly. Harley Petrie. Merle Baker. Jenny Campbell. Michelle Boone. S.L. Thompson. Mark Sheely, and the Reverend Glenn Shelton.
That's right.
And that brought us up to 9 o'clock almost. Not really.
Not really.
Happily, no.
Let's talk about this Sunday.
Yeah, we have this 25th anniversary celebration this Sunday at the warehouse. And we'll have that for however long it takes. Starts at
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock, and then it will be there till everybody decides it's enough, and then we're having snacks and everything there and we're going to be raffling off that half of a hog too. That,
And will everybody get this habitat?
yes,
message?
we have this brochure we have put together, and
It's a dandy.
It's nice.
You did well in your message, Cynthia Lynn.
Thanks, Mom.
I note now, the mortgages, are they tailored to the recipient's income? How do you establish the mortgage payments for?
Well, we have the house is appraised,
Yes.
and then we take the appraisal, and 70% of the appraised value is the first mortgage. Okay, and then the other 30% is a second mortgage. They only make the payment on the first mortgage, but one payment a month for the 30% goes away also, and there is no interest charge through our mortgages.
Now, is this a dictate from Habitat International, or is this
Is
the
our
policy?
local, that's our local policy. There are other habitat units that they farm out the mortgages. We
Okay.
have not done that yet.
But you haven't been bitten either.
No, not yet. We hope not to be, but someday I'm sure the more homes you get, the more chance of that happening.
Well, it's the law. It's they talk about the law of averages.
Sure.
It's somebody is not going to come up with some bad luck and not be able to come up with the money.
We've been very lucky here.
But this
in
is
our-
where the mentors come in.
Yeah.
We have a board meeting the first Tuesday of every month, and we get the financial sheets, and it shows who's paid their mortgage, and are you a month ahead, are you a month behind, are you right on? And that's where the mentor comes in, talking to the family to say what happened to your payment this month. Well, the car broke down, and I got to have the car to get to work, so we had to get the car fixed. And it's the communication, it's the board and the mentor working with the homeowner, not to just say, gee, you're a month or two behind, so we're going to start foreclosure on you.
Yeah. You have to stay up to date, don't you?
Right, and this is the communication, and we impress that upon all of our homeowners. Let us know what's going on. I mean, life happens.
Unfortunately or fortunately, as the
Yes,
case
it
may
does.
be. Yes. What was I going to say?
I don't know. You're going to ask me something right in front of everybody, but I can't remember what it was. Leonard,
Our organization, we are our own financiers. So I remember one time when we were running on, I think we had owed $65,000. We were paying interest on it, but letting it out to the homeowners for
at
zero
no interest. Yeah.
Zero interest. Now we're
That kind of cuts your profit, doesn't it?
Yes, it
Saw a
does.
lot of tuba force to make that up.
You make a lot of harsh decisions when that happens too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you impress on them very hard
Yes.
how that works,
Yes.
so that they understand.
Well, and we do offer budget training and budget counseling. In fact, just this past Saturday, we had a budget meeting, and we had prospective homeowners there as well as homeowners to talk again about this is how we set up a budget. It's important to have a will, just all the important things about being a homeowner.
I got a promotion idea for you. We bring in President Carter,
Yes.
who is very big in
Yes, he
Habitat,
is.
and has
Oh,
been
my.
since he retired. Take my hat off to him. We bring him in here and get a guest appearance, and then have people pay $100 to work with him for an hour. So,
I'd be good with that.
so if we can get Jimmy up here, I know we can get a bunch of people to pay $100.
Yeah.
We'll let you make that contact, Bill.
Yeah. There you go.
I think he'd take a Republican entree. I don't think he's that hidebound at all.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
The house in Emden, what is it slated for completion at how soon? Pretty quickly now.
We're
Yeah,
hoping
this-
very soon because
Yeah,
we're going to get in the fields.
Well, yeah,
Probably
a
about
lot of
3
volunteer
weeks.
work. We'll be farming now.
before Thanksgiving, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
And the house blessing, you say, will be announced, and anyone
yes.
can come. And it's a very
please.
nice occasion.
Yes,
It
is.
really is.
Yeah.
It's going to be a very nice house.
Is that dictated by Habitat International, or is this blessing an idea of Logan County Habitat?
I think it's Habitat's way of doing it. The International has done this forever.
It's very nice.
Yes.
It is. And the groundbreaking. And you see little kids even trying to
Sure.
help with that. And the grandpa comes and he helps. And it's just a nice thing. And then these people become property tax paying citizens of the county of Logan. And
That's
that doesn't hurt.
That's correct.
Yes.
The extra fundraisers, is there any, I'm just trying to think about selling more 2x4s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's take an arbitrary price of $5 for a 2x4. Well, a fellow ought to be able to buy 100 of them, or buy five of them, and put those in the various rooms with their names on them.
That's right.
That'd be all right. Everybody just cover your name up right away. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
I wanted to make sure
Yes.
you did. The next project will be where?
We're not sure yet. We have several applicants, and some of them are from out of the city of Lincoln. So it depends on which one of the people we select for the next house is where the house will be built.
Yes. Now, do you have a pool of people who are waiting to be recipients of these houses?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Right now, we have between 10 and 12 pending applications
Really?
that we're working with. And that's why I say we're always looking for volunteers to be mentors, to meet with these families. You know, everybody's got gifts and talents. In Logan County, nobody on the board gets paid. None of the volunteers get paid. That's why they're volunteers. And we're always
definition,
looking
all
for
right.
people to step up. And it's really not that time consuming.
It's 6 hours on a weekend or whatever you can afford to give to it.
Yes, and there are people there, you call them the project managers, who oversee things, and it's kind of fun. I was helping with the house before, and we were staining woodwork, the gal who was going to be the owner and I. And by golly, there was this lady who came around just right along, and she said, "Oh, you missed a spot right there." And she'd pointed out to us, and we'd apologize and fix it up. So when it's done right, because they keep an eye on you and help you along the way if you don't know what you're doing.
Cynthia, Lynn, and gentlemen, your board meets how often? Monthly?
Yes.
Yes.
And that could be a short meeting, or it could be a long meeting, depending upon what the agenda
It all
is.
depends on what's going on. We've had the last couple of meetings have been timely, but we've been planning for the 25th anniversary and a few other things that needed some upkeep. So it sometime can be a 2-hour meeting.
It's almost inevitable you're going to have some hitches in your get along as you go. Have you had any?
Yep.
What disappointments have you experienced, gentlemen, and since?
Oh gosh,
See, when he has to say that means there aren't many.
I can't think of one.
That's interesting.
There was the gal that got a divorce, and then her boyfriend tried to tear up the house, and
Yeah.
Oh boy.
we had to come back and do it all over again.
Oofta.
That was the house number 2, wasn't it?
Yes.
Leonard? We had
Oh dear, and
house
so
number 2,
new
and
into
then
it.
she moved out, and then we redid it, and now the people that got the house now have been there ever since.
And that's a long
And they're
time
doing
now.
a fine, and that's been over 20 years ago.
Well, let's take our last minute here and kind of rerun the agenda for Sunday, so that whether you would be willing to be a volunteer in the building department or in the cooking department or the mentoring department or buy a stud, you can come out on Sunday, and let's give the time and what you can see and learn. Or if you intend to be a prospective homeowner.
Absolutely. We'll have applications available for people. Again, we're selling raffle tickets for the half a hog. We're selling studs. There'll be tea and crumpets. You'll get an opportunity to tour the warehouse where we sell donated products to make money. You'll get to see what we call the center, which is where we have our meetings.
Which is right next door.
They're all right next door. They're next to the fairgrounds, across the street from the lumberyard and the Dairy Queen.
You want to charge him a little commercial for the Dairy Queen commercial here?
We'll send him a bill.
Well, there are different types of Cynthia and Leonard and Billy. We appreciate your being with us this morning. You are involved in America at its best. People helping other people who need assistance. So we appreciate the fact that you're, number one, doing it, and number two, sharing your experiences with us. We're going to do that. We've done it before, and we'll plan to do it again. I would remind you that there are different types of habitats, and I found that the habitat for the tongue is the left cheek.
Okay.
Ponder that. Ponder that. Thank you for Viewpoint.